You know, I'm 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 a, I'm frustrated. I don't know what to do. Um, I hate when this happens. Oh, ugh. Let me know if this has happened to you. I've done this is the second or third time I've done this, and I'm really ticked off. Um, Welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina K-R-I-S. K-R-I-S-T-I-N-A. It's my name. And it's nice to meet you. I'm trying to learn sign language for teaching. So we'll see how that goes. Very, very slowly. We don't forget to please check out Star Trek Fridays, where I recap Next Generation episodes. Also on Fridays is If Then. If you like this author, then maybe you like this author. And Flashback Mondays, where we talk about Romantic Time Book Review magazine and multiple genres. We hit historical romance, mystery, suspense, sci-fi, inspirational, contemporary romance, Harlequins, erotica, paranormal, hit the whole 9 yards. So if you're looking for a variety, please check this out. Also check out my daily book reviews, which today is. Now, a couple of years ago, I am a series person. I like series, as you can tell. We did all of James Patterson's Woodica. We did all of Krista Davis last year. We did all of J.D. Robb. We did all of Janet Ivanovich. I'm a series person. I like the character progression from book to book to book. And many years ago, and I may do it again for this podcast. We'll see. But I always looking for an author, always looking for an author that's been established, so I can do a binge read. Sometimes coming in with an author that only has 5 or 6 books is kind of frustrating. But so when I find one that has, 20 of them, I get excited. And several years ago, I decided to read Stuart Woods. And I went and did one of these. These are not Stuart Woods. I went and I collected all the Stuart Woods, even early editions. And I read through about 10, 15 books. And I may do it again for this series. I may not. But Stone Barrington was a cop, and then he became a private eye kind of situation. And the guy was a slut, an absolute slut. He slept with a different woman each book. Didn't really bother to establish a relationship like a woman's book would. They would establish a little bit of relationship or something. But each book he was sleeping with a different woman. And I was like, well, the mystery's good, the story's good, I'm just going to skip this part. Then there was this book where he had the ring in his pocket, and he was going to this island, and this lady was going to meet him there, and he was going to propose marriage. And so he had the ring in his pocket. He had the ring in his pocket, and he was going to propose marriage to her, and he was prepared to spend the rest of his life with her. She calls him and says she's eloped with this other guy. Within 2 hours of that phone call, he's in bed with another woman. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. A stranger, complete stranger, never met her before, never seen her before. And back then, there was all these kind of diseases out there. Well, there's still diseases out there now, but still. And I was just told, but it was a man for you. So, anyways, back to today's. So I don't know how well you can see it because I couldn't find the one in a book. I had to buy the ebook. And so I have spent time and money, and it'll be better. Rules of Prey, John Sandford. This is book 1. And like I said, I've invested, I've researched, I've gathered up the earlier editions to do this thing because I like to hold a physical book. I don't like to do the ebook. Ebooks are good if you're traveling, but it doesn't show up too well on my thing here. So So, um, he, so this is a new author for me, and I've never read him before. So I gathered up the books, prepared to do a binge read, prepared to do all these videos. He doesn't tell you who the characters are. He doesn't introduce anybody. You don't know their relationships to anybody. You don't even know who Lucas is. You get like bits and pieces throughout the book. There's no, oh, I'm Lucas and I'm blah blah blah. No. Then he has characters he doesn't even introduce. Thin guy, fat guy. What the hell's up with that? He wanders off into tangents about the Civil War. What the hell's up with that? He meets with people and you're not even told why he's meeting with people. He goes and he does. It's just, I'm so pissed off because I've done all this, and I'm gonna do the next book because I'm invested. But if it doesn't, I mean, I know this guy's really popular and really famous, but it's right up there with Stuart Woods. What the F? And then he sleeps. Alright, let me get back to this. Alright. He doesn't introduce the characters. Sometimes he doesn't even give their names. He doesn't give their relationship to him or what their history is with him. He gives nothing. He just starts talking to this person and you're not told anything. And he likes to kill animals. That was huge. I was one chapter in and I was gonna turn it off. I didn't like it. It made me so angry. And yes, I've said that before. That's the point of a good author. It makes you really emotionally involved in the story. So when you're sitting there screaming and yelling at the book, the author supposedly is doing a really good job because they're intriguing, they're enticing you, they're gauging emotion. So in the first chapter, I do like that the chapter that he did it like Patterson does, where Lucas had his own POV chapter and then the killer had his own POV chapter, and they weren't. Some authors will like do one paragraph of the main character and then one paragraph of the killer, and each one had their own chapter, so that was okay. So the first chapter is from the killer's point of view, talking about all his kills to date and how proud he is of himself and why he killed each one. And he lists his rules. Never kill anyone you know. Never have a motive. Never follow a discernible pattern. Never carry a weapon after it's been used. Isolate yourself from random discovery. Beware of leaving physical evidence. He's 27 years old, and he leaves the rule with each killing carefully snipped from a Minneapolis newspaper, a short phrase stuck with scotch tape to a notebook paper for the city's kill. It was never murder. Anyone you know. He placed the paper on the victim's chest so that there could be no doubt who left it there, and he signed it Mad Dog. And then we get chapter 2, Lucas. There's no introduction of Lucas, of who he is, what his rank is, what he does, nada. He's hanging out in a convenience store buying Emily Dickinson poetry and talking to the clerk. And then we are told that he's under surveillance from internal affairs, and he doesn't even introduce the guys. They're the fat guy and the thin guy. And then they're told to take him into the station. The chief wants to talk to him, and they spend the next hour or so at the racetrack running the horses. And then he goes into the captain eventually. We're not even explained. There's no explanation of what's going on or what the relationships are or who these people are or how. There's no explaining here. So he goes into the captain, and he explained to Lucas why he had him under surveillance. 2 weeks ago, a man made a run at a St. Paul woman, an artist named Carla Louise. She managed to fight him off, and the sergeant in charge found her looking at a note, and it was one of the rules that our killer is leaving behind. And he also left a gun behind, and it was the gun had been used in a previous case and had been stolen out of the property room. And he was one of the 34 people that had access to the property room, and that's why he was under surveillance. And then they have Frank Lester come in, and there's no background on him. I'm glad we got an entire name, because most of the time we don't even get an entire name. There's been another killing, so he goes to that crime scene. We're introduced or not introduced to a cop named Swanson. He's sitting at the table eating a Big Mac, fries, and a malt. No, Eve Dallas would have chewed him out 6 ways to Sunday if he'd eaten on the job. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And I'm still trying to figure out what the hell to do. So he tells this guy sitting at the table eating the Big Mac, that the lady was hit over the head with a potato in socks. He said in the olden days, they used to go, guys would go to Loring Park to roll the queers, or down Washington Avenue to roll the windows. They'd carry a potato with them. Nothing illegal about a potato. But you put one in a sock, you've got hell of a blackjack. So soft, if you're careful, you don't crack anybody's skull. You don't wind up with a dead body on your hands. Everybody looking for you. So how'd the mad dog do it? He's gay, Swanson shrugged. Could be a cop. Lots of old streets cop would know about using a potato. That doesn't sound right, Lucas said. I never heard of a serial killer. If you're going to do it, they start young, teens, 20s, and 30s. Swanson looked them over carefully. You're going to detect on this one? And Lucas just says, yeah. No background, no relationship. The book is weird. It jumps back. There's no continuation. We go to Lindsay with the murder club, and she goes to work, and all this stuff happens. Then she goes home, all this stuff happens. She has phone calls, friends, meetings. This guy jumps around. There's no fluidity here. There's no explanation. I spent most of the book confused as all hell. Then he starts in with the sleeping with the reporter. We don't know that she's a reporter. It's just like Jennifer Carey, why, say, oh, we've been dating for X long years, or she's become a confidant. She's just in bed with him. Then she says she's pregnant, and he's like, well, let's get married. In the meantime, he's doing all this. The victim, the Louise Carla lady who had fought off the attacker and won, he's been assigned to protect her, so he's put her up in one of his cabins. Apparently, Lucas is really rich. And we're not given any information there either. We're just told he's really rich. And he's got a cabin up in the woods, and he sticks this girl up in the cabin in the woods, and then he sleeps with her. His girlfriend, or whoever she is, because she's not called his girlfriend. He doesn't refer to her that way. He doesn't refer to her in any way, except Jennifer. And then he's sleeping with Carla up in the cabin, at the same time that he's sleeping with Jennifer. At least if this was a book by a woman, there would be a little substance to the relationships. There's no substance here. She's a victim. You're sleeping with a victim. You're a cop, and you're sleeping with the victim. What the hell is up with that? There's something so wrong with that. So one of the meetings he goes to, we're not even told all the people in the room. It's like, oh yeah, there's so and so and six other people. We're never told who the six other people are. There's never input from. If Eve Dallas has a task force meeting, everybody participates. This is like 2 people participate and 8 people watch. So then one of the meetings they discuss the gun that went missing from the property room. And then they discuss all the victims thus far. Then all of a sudden, we're not told exactly why. You kind of figured out because she's a shrink, but you're given this, of all the characters in the book, you're given like this much background on a nun. And you're like, what the hell does the nun have to do with this story? We didn't get background on anybody else in the book that he's met previously. Then all of a sudden, we get this huge chunk on the nun. And she's a shrink and he goes there for advice. And then they start talking game and Civil War and so then Lucas put out a few feelers and we're not even given all the details on that one. It's just it's so like a piece here and a piece there and a piece. It's just I was so frustrated. The lack of continuity, whatever the hell you call it. Um, uh, he gets a call from this guy because they had put out this thing about the gun and they wanted to talk to all these people. And this guy calls him and sets up a meet in the middle of the night. And the guy tells him that he was the one that took the gun out of the property room because a friend of his was robbed and he was confined to a wheelchair and he couldn't do anything as his people robbed his house. So the guy got him the gun. And then the guy eventually died of the cancer and sold the gun before he died to raise money for his wife because his wife was going to be alone. So they don't do anything to the guy that took the gun. It's irrelevant at this point. But they go and talk to the widow. And it's talking to the widow that Lucas starts put pieces together about what these women have in common. Because up until this point, they have no clue what they're all different kinds of color. Some are white, some are black, some are old, some are young, and they couldn't figure out, what these women had in common. And it turns out they all been to the courthouse at one time or another. And then he's back with Jennifer again, and they're not even saying they love each other or anything. They're not even there's no emotional involvement here. It's very cold. And they're talking about the baby and he wants to get married. And then he's off doing Carla. And then there's a whole page on the Civil War and General Pickett and that whole thing. And I'm like, what? Really? What? What does that have to do with the story? Then his girlfriend Jennifer gets mad at him because she's a TV reporter and she's been feeding another TV reporter all these hot tips, but they've been false hot tips and they've been used to encourage or anger the murderer to draw out the murderer. And she eventually figures it out that he's setting up this other chick as a potential victim so that they can catch the murderer. And let's see if I can find it here. So In the middle of the book, Lucas left City Hall at 3 and wandered down to the detention center, stopping only to pick up a box of popcorn. Annie McGowan and a cameraman were outside the center, waiting. Lucas sat on a bench a block away. Oh, that's the wrong page. Oh, okay. So, Jennifer's starting to get the idea that he's setting up Anne as a victim so that he can catch the murderer. Oh, God, she's going off again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 6. That's the least amount she's ever done. So you're not told certain things happen. Lucas does certain things, and you're not told why. There's no explanation given at all as to why this happens. It just like the Civil War stuff. He just talking about the Civil War. Later that evening, he cruised Lake Street in an unmarked departmental pool car, watching the night walkers, the drinkers, the bookers, looking for any one of a dozen faces. He found one just before 10. He tells Harold to get in the car. Oh, Lieutenant, get in the car, Harold. Harold, a dealer in a free market pharmaceuticals, got in the car. Harold, you owe me, Lucas said. Harold weighed 130 pounds and was lost in his olive drab field jacket. What do you want? I haven't been talking to anybody. What I want is for you to go into Frankie's and do some light drinking on me. But light, wine, beer. I don't want you hammered. What's the bad part? Harold asked, suddenly looking perkier. They're going to put some young puss up on the bar, real young. When they do, I want you to walk out and tell me. I'll be up the block. You come as soon as she starts here, not 2 minutes later, just as soon as she starts. And then he goes in and he rests and you're not given any background, you're not given any reason, nothing. It's just something that happens. You're not, So my notes. I made enough of them, but I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should continue. They do set up a sting. It goes 6 ways to Sunday. And you realize it's not going to work because you still have 100 pages left, and they're not going to catch the killer 100 pages with 100 pages left. So and then the ladies find out that he's doing both of them at the same time, and him and Jennifer, him and Carla break up, sort of, kind of. Were they in a relationship? Were they not in a relationship? We don't know. They were just sleeping together. I guess friends with benefits type situation. Him and Jennifer come to an agreement, sort of, kinda. The whole thing just is irritating as all hell. And I'll read the second book, but I'm telling you, this is not going to work for me. And I'm pissed. Massive pissed that he did all this. Even Stuart Woods made a teeny bit more sense than these books do. So if you could please hit the like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. As of this video, we have surpassed 200. Yay! I'm not too excited because I keep thinking, because every time I got a huge amount of subscribers over the last 6 months, if I got 10 new subscribers, 20 would unsub. So we'll see what happens. If you please subscribe, please stay subscribed for a while. Please hit the like, not the other one. I've had people hit the other one and it's killed my algorithm, and I have a very, very small algorithm to begin with. So please check the like and subscribe. Please check out Star Trek Fridays, Flashback Mondays, and look for the next book in this series. I'm not too happy about it, but we'll see what happens. Have a good day. Oh, wait, I should say that he does eventually catch the killer. Oh, I wanted to mention before I forget. Twice in this book, the author is killing squirrels. The first time he's killing squirrels is the killer. The second time he is killing squirrels, it's Lucas. And that ticked me off. And it also ticked me off what Lucas did at the end, in the very last, what he did. Lucas's way of justice. And that is so uncalled for in a detective book. That he took the law into his own hands and he handled it all by himself. And that was so wrong. That was so wrong. So massively wrong. So that's one of the bigger reasons why I don't want to continue this series. So have a good day.